Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Shut Door or Door Shutter coming back to you with episode 54 of Direwolf20's 1.18 mod pack. And today, we're actually going to be getting into the Fission Reactor. So, I have a little bit of something laid out here. Okay, so this is kind of visual. This is actually a setup that is on the actual Mekanism wiki that I'm using, right? It's not going to be 100%, word for word, but the sizes are exact. Because honestly, I didn't feel like doing the math. And they say that this actually produces... So, it produces 3.85 million, or MJ, which I believe is Mekanism's whole thing. 1.54 MFE per tick, so I believe that's like million, something like that. And there's a few other things with this. I will leave the actual Fission Reactor wiki page in the description so you guys can look at this. But we're going with sodium. So I've actually created a brine production down here, where we are, so we can actually get this going, right? So sodium is actually one of the better coolants. According to the wiki, it is the better solution for cooling a fission reactor. All right. So I'm not just using this because I can. It is actually just better, right? It's always a good thing to know when something is better. All right. So let's actually grab some reactor casings here, and we'll kind of get started. I'll probably need a little bit more than this, but let's build the fission reactor. So this right here will be the fission reactor, which is 5 by 5 by 9. All right. So let's knock this cobblestone out here. Doodly-doo. And there is quite a bit of math that goes into this because you kind of need to balance between all three machines. This turbine, which is what this one will be back here, is actually a little big. It doesn't need to be this massive. The wiki actually says that this is overkill. The fusion reactor can actually support a lot. This can actually support up to 2 reactors, but the boiler is the point of failure. So if I made the boiler bigger, it'd be better, but also if I make it too big, this fission reactor could not support it, and vice versa. There's a lot that goes into this, a lot of math, but this seems like a decent reactor. I don't feel like doing the math too much. You guys can. It's all on that wiki and all of that jazz. So let's get this going here. So we're gonna lay out just a flat layer of fission things and kind of do what we did with the extreme reactors. We're going to build an outline kind of thing with all of the fission casings. And this is actually really common with a lot of the Mekanism multi-blocks that are in the game. So you kind of create an outline. You can use structural glass on all the faces, and you really don't actually have to use the structural glass for the faces if you don't really want to. You could just use the fission reactor casing or the turbine reactor casing, or any of those kind of blocks, so the boiler casing and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind, right? Something to think about. So you might be wondering why I have this massive hole, which I actually haven't looked down until now. This massive hole is actually for nuclear waste. And real quick before I forget, let's actually grab a travel anchor or travel staff here. So the travel anchor, I've actually made one, and that's kind of what I was waiting for. We actually have it down there, so you can see if I look at it, we've got toxic waste. So I have actually a travel anchor made all the way down to the bottom. Of course, we can actually make one to the top, but the reason I did that is because we will be building down there. So let's actually quickly make a travel anchor. Kind of just detour real quick, and we'll place this over here just so we can actually get back, and we'll say mech reactor top. All right, so now I can see that when I hold the staff, and if I look over, where is it at here? Yeah, so I kind of have to get closer to it. I can get an enchant for this, I do believe, to actually get a better one. But yeah, sneak right clicking actually teleports you, and yeah, so that's just something cool that we'll be using for this build. But anyway, back to what we were doing. So at mech fission, let's actually grab a couple of these logic ports. Let's grab, I believe, let's see, how many do we need here? So we actually need to import a few things here. So the fission reactor port is the input and output of the machine. So with the fission reactor, we'll be inputting sodium, outputting superheated sodium, but then also inputting sodium again, right? Because we have to remember that the boiler will output sodium and it'll output steam. The steam will go to the turbine and all of that jazz, right? So just keep that in mind. So let's actually grab 2 of these because I believe that's all we will need. We don't need to input any more fluids because we're not using water or anything of that sort. So what we'll do, this will be our output, okay? And I believe like let's say right about here. So structural. Let's grab some structural glass, which I made quite a bit of this just because I knew we were going to use it. And we'll go... We don't want to go too high here. So this will be the actual top of the boiler. So let's go 2 blocks down and say here. Okay, and then we can, of course, throw our structural glass here. And then we will need to get some more fission parts. Mech fission. We'll actually need to grab, let's see how many of these, because I'm actually not sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of these bad boys. And I believe I'm missing a part of this reactor. There is a part that I'm missing. What am I missing here? I just want to make sure. Control rod assembly, I believe, is what we're actually looking for. Which is this. Right? Yeah, so this is our top piece. So let's grab 5 of these. We'll just craft them ourselves. And I believe these go here at the very top. Okay. And then we'll actually grab the mech fission. We'll actually need however many of these. So let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6, 30. Okay. So just do 25. That should be enough, I believe. I may have mathed wrong, but we'll see. So then we'll place those like this. All right. And yes, I am actually referencing the wiki while we're doing this, just so you guys know, so I don't give you guys any misinformation or kind of waste our time today. So let's actually look at where we want to do one other thing that I actually completely forgot about. We do need another one of these because we will need to actually export the nuclear waste, which we'll get into in a little while. We'll actually need to make some nuclear waste barrels and all of that jazz, because we can actually use the nuclear waste that this produces for polonium or plutonium. I know we've talked about this, and that is, you know, a very decent thing to look into, that we will look into. I believe we'll do polonium, I believe is what I want. No, plutonium. I want the actual little blue pellets. Yeah, this stuff, because we can actually make the fissile fragment, the reprocessed fissile fragments, which can be thrown into a chemical oxidizer and make fissile fuel, kind of just reprocess, right? So that'd be pretty cool. So we're going to place 2 fission logic adapters right here, one above the other. So you've got that block in between here, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. This is actually recommended by the wiki. I kind of just, you know, I don't think I've ever really followed a mod's wiki to the T, and I kind of want to try it, you know, so it's kind of interesting here. All right, so let's just keep building. I believe we also need a AtMech fission controller or something. I know there's probably a block or 2 we're missing, but I think we'll just go, we'll build all of this. see if it assembles, and if I didn't do it right, it shouldn't assemble, right? So that's, we'll go with it. All right, so I did something wrong here. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? All right, so real quick, we're actually going to clear out the measuring so I can actually see what I'm doing a little bit here. I believe I've missed a block somewhere, and that is probably most likely the culprit. Either that or I messed up making this whole thing. Not 100% sure which. All right, that's on me. This is not structural glass. This is reactor glass. There's a difference. As I told you, some machines take different pieces of things. So let's actually grab our exchange gadget. We'll put down this reactor glass, and we'll fix my issue. So Shift G. Can I not replace this? I think it's a title entity, so let's just replace it manually. So reactor glass, not structural glass. I think I actually read reactor glass several times and completely ignored it. But that's fine. We're fixing our mistake. That's how we learn. Especially in modded Minecraft, because mistakes are happening all the time with just how many mods there are, right? Like, Mekanism has so many multi-blocks and so many little components that it's destined to happen every once in a while, right? So, we'll replace this with reactor glass, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, and that is active. So, that was the problem. Structural glass is not what I needed. I needed reactor glass. My bad. That's alright. So, we've got this going. And what we want to do is we actually want to come to the logic reactor adapters here. So there is quite a few things that you can do with these things, right? So you cannot do multiple. That's why I need 2. So you could say, hey, high temperature, excess waste, damage, critical. And I don't really know too much about each one of these, right? There's a lot to look at with, how reactors work, right? Because you want to make sure that you don't have too much high temperatures, because that is not a good thing. You don't want to have too much waste, because the reactor will not function. You probably could set up a function for all of these. So what I want to do is I actually want to do high temperature, and we'll say ignored. We don't really care about redstone, because this actually should output redstone whenever it is, happening, right? So when this happens, like high temperature, we could grab a piston. So let's grab a piston here. And this is kind of something from the wiki that it's actually suggested that you kind of do, which is kind of called a surge protector. It's, pretty interesting. So I thought I'd, showcase it, because I actually never have seen this before. I don't think I've ever seen anybody ever do this. So it's just kind of something that I was interested in looking at. So we'll take some gravel, and we'll put that here. And let's actually quickly, before I keep that there, disable. So we'll do inverted, or no, just normal, I think. Activation. I think. How do you do this? Let's see. Okay, yeah, so it is activation. And then we'll put the observer back. So basically what'll happen is whenever the, certain case happens, this will activate, pushing this up, putting a redstone signal, turning this thing off, is what I believe what'll happen, right? This may not be fully what this thing is, but it's text. I can't really infer a whole lot from the text. So let's just make sure. So this actually says high temperature, redstone, piston, gravel, observer, and activation. So now what we should be able to do is actually start setting this stuff. So here, not wrench, we actually want to configure, I believe gases, right? So we want to say output waste on this one, okay? And then here we want to output coolant, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. That might be wrong. And then input only. And then, of course, we actually did forget. We do need to input this stuff, which I wonder if I can actually put a valve on the bottom. At mech. Because sometimes you can't, right? There's some weird stuff. Also, ignore this. This is a thing. Fission. Let's grab this last reactor port here. Let's see if we can actually put this here and configure this to be input only. And let's run some tubes. And yes, I'm actually using Mekanism's tubes this time. And we'll just run this under the boiler, right? Because we need to get that over here. So this is the sodium. And then, of course, we can cover all this up. So this should be filling with sodium. You can see that that is happening. Very slowly, of course. These don't actually have speed upgrades, by the way. That is a thing we could probably take care of real quick. All right, so those are all in place here, and this will take a while to fill with sodium. I'm not 100% sure how much this actually holds. Let's see. I'm not sure. Okay. Anyway, let's then get onto the boiler. So, mech boiler. So let's grab some casings here. So let's just grab 192. I think that's overkill, but better to be overkilling this than underkilling it, I guess, because we also do need to make sure, you know, we're just able to fill in everything. And of course the blocks are still in place, so I can tell which height and all of that stuff is, which is good. Alright, so we will need to put... Did I do that right? Let me make sure here. That should be 7. I believe. 5 by 7 by 5. Okay, so yeah, that should be 7, not 6. So let's go there. Alright. And just placing blocks. That's a lot of this right now, is we're placing a whole lot of blocks to make these structures. And I'm hoping this is structural glass this time. I don't think we have anything like boiler glass. But of course, you know, I could be wrong, but that's alright. Alright, so we'll need to place what is called a superheat element inside of this. So let's actually grab, let's see, I believe 9. So we want 18. Okay. The reason we want 18 of these is because we need to place 9 of these right here in this level. And then up here on this level, we'll place another 9. I believe these are the blocks we are using. I could not find any other blocks like this. So this should be correct. And of course, we'll take out the glass, and we'll want a ATMAC valve or boiler valve. So we'll just need 2 of these bad boys, and we'll put one here. Actually, hold on. I don't think this will affect anything, so let's just quickly do this. Right? And of course, we'll want to most likely change this to output coolant. And we can then put our glass here. We'll put our reactor, or our boiler valve there, not reactor valves. And we'll put everything else here. And of course, this doesn't really get too many like safety features or anything, because we don't really care if this gets exploded or anything like that, because I don't believe it will. I think the only real danger is the actual reactor and all the radiation and everything like that. And I do have a hazmat suit, by the way. It's in my backpack. I've actually had it for a few episodes now. I don't think I ever mentioned it, but I did make it off camera. It's not too expensive. I can show the crafting recipe here in a second. But that should be our boiler. Unless, of course, we have a different type of glass or something. Which we might have. I'm not sure. Maybe I put the wrong block in here. Let me be right back. Alrighty, so I believe I was wrong. We actually need pressure dispersers. Of course. One block, I'm managing to miss like at least one block per build here. At this rate, we're getting nowhere, but it's alright. So pressure dispersers, we'll put those here. And basically that will allow for the steam to actually be built. There we go. So this should be fine. And I actually believe I forgot another thing with this one, which is it actually needs water. So, yeah. What we need to do is actually put another set of valves. So at mech valve. So let's grab another set of these. We also need to output the steam and everything. So we will then put, let's see here. Let's put the coolant. I guess we could move the superheated valve or the superheated glass or the whatever, superheated elements, superheating elements. We could move those down, but I think this should be fine. We'll put the water here and we'll take the steam out of here, which will then go into the turbine. Okay. So let's grab a sink, you know, because that's my favorite block ever. We need actually buckets. Buckets, buckets, buckets. I still haven't automated that, which is kind of crazy that I haven't automated water gathering. Alright, it's probably not a good spot to keep gathering water, so let's just go out here. Alright, we got a sink. So what we'll do with this sink here is we'll just place this down and we'll grab, I don't even, is it mech ultimate, I don't remember what they're actually called. Mechanical pipes, which I don't think I really have any mechanical pipes. We'll just grab, you know, a few of these. All right. And I'm kind of just trying to stick with mechanisms like actual pipes, by the way, right now. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but that's kind of something I'm trying to stick to here. And I believe the superheated is pressurized tubes, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on this one yet here. But this should be right. Okay, so we'll just do output, input. We'll output coolant, so input only. And then we want to output coolant, I think. And then output steam here. And that should be good, I believe. So input only, input, and then... Okay. I think that's right. I'm hoping that's right. We really won't know until we turn this on. That's kind of the scary part, right? So let's actually then do this. We'll, of course, make sure we are doing... Nope, not that. Export, import, and then we'll want our pipes here. Export. Okay. So now let's grab the turbine, right? We might be running out of time here. So this... Because this is pushing it, right? Like I am trying to build 3 multi-blocks from Mekanism all in one episode at Mech Turbine. And I also really... It's been a long time since I've messed with this stuff, honestly. So we probably do need more than 128 for this. I don't doubt it because this is the tallest structure. Let's actually quickly grab a rain shield so I can stop the rain. There we go. And then let's just put this down. Right? So the interesting thing about the turbine is you actually need to get the turbine rotors, which I don't think... So turbine rotors and the turbine blades. And we'll actually, get into those in a second here once I get the exterior placed. We'll also need to look at vents and the actual pressurized dispersers again here in a little bit. So let's actually just do this, do that. And then, of course, let's actually build this all around. And let me actually build the outside and I'll be right back. All right, so we're actually going to look at something real quick. So the turbine vents, which we'll get into what these actually do in a second, they are actually really useful for turbines. And you quite need a lot of these. And there's certain restrictions with these, and I'll get into that in a second here. Because we need a few other blocks. So at mech, electro, I believe it's magnetic, yeah, these things. So you actually need a few of these bad boys to kind of get the power from the actual turbine. So these actually just go right here. You fill in the underside of this top layer, and this will, be your kind of energy producing layer. You can think about it that way. And then we'll also need the pressurized dispersers, and you'll need to cover up all of that. So let's actually grab some more iron bars, and we'll grab a few of these bad boys. I think we need like 25 in total. I don't think we really need to do a double layer of these. I don't think we can. So let's just do that. So we need to put these under this. Oop. And actually there's something that goes in the middle of this, by the way. All right, so more iron bars. All right. So what we actually need to do now is not throw my hammer in here. I believe it's called a rotary or something like that. At mech rot. This thing right here, rotational complex. We actually can put this in the center here, and we can actually grab how many of these? So this actually goes from here to here. We need 9 of them. Okay. And then we'll actually need the turbine blades. And we'll actually make 18 of these bad boys. Okay. And we're going to put these right in the center. Which they are kind of a little challenging to place because they're so small. But that's alright. Alright, so with the turbine blade, you'll want to right click. For some reason there. Oh yeah. It's because it actually builds it up. So you can actually have 2 per turbine rotor, hence why you need 18 of these. Okay, so you just keep building and building until it gets to the top, and there you go. All right, and I actually haven't placed blocks in these spots, the outside spot here, because we actually need to make some more of these. We might make overkill with these, but that is fine. Overkill is better than not overkill. All right, and then of course the structural glass will come in, and we'll need to get the turbine valves and all of that here quickly as well. So let me get the structural glass placed, and we'll get onto the valves, and hopefully turning this on in a little bit. Of course, we do need to get the nuclear waste stuff dealt with before we even consider turning this on. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so we can place the valve right here. This should form. Nice. All right, so let's then put this on input. Nope, I hit the wrong thing. That's fine. Let's just take this pipe back up, and we'll place another one. Alrighty, so now we need to grab an ultimate mechanical pipe here, and let's place this here, fluid trash can here, because this will produce water. We don't really need water because we have an infinite source from the sink, so we're just going to go with this. All right. And you actually click here, you can see that we are limited on vents because we have 24 dispersers. There's not much I can really do about that because I have as many vents as I can, because you only can really vent this level. Okay. So I think if we were to make this taller, maybe we could do something like that. But I think for now, we're going to be fine. All right. And also the blades is limiting. That's fine. We're all good. So let's, of course, make sure we do that. And let's get the elephant in the room dealt with. Okay. So we actually need to grab I believe it's a solar neutron activator. There we go. So this actually needs HDPE, which is substrate, oxygen, and liquid ethylene. This is more difficult than I was really hoping it would be. Well, I could work on getting this. But liquid ethylene, it's not that complicated. But I really don't want to do that right now. So what I think I'll do is plutonium. No, polonium. We actually want polonium, not plutonium. So water, polonium, fluorite dust. Fluorite dust comes from fluorite. I think we could do that. I'm going to set that up off camera, just getting the machines and everything ready. And I'll be right back. Alrighty, so we're actually going to wrap up the episode here. I need to let the uranium build back up before we even start the reactor. I'm actually going to turn off the big reactors for now. In the next episode, we'll turn on the fission reactor, get that all sorted, set up, and hopefully, have a functioning mechanism reactor. And then sooner or later, of course, we'll look into the big reactors or extreme reactors turbine and all of that stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Stay awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!